welcome again to SwamiLee's Sports Talk here at SwamiLee's Sports Cars and Collectibles at 2673 Haddonfield Road in Pensacola, New Jersey. I'm Swami Lee.
I am Mike, the Swami Stumper.
Oh boy. Here in this moment, I'm giving it to him. Okay, we got the hit.
And I am Eagle Ed.
Have you heard the version where the lyrics are "Watch Tom Brady cry"?
No, but I'm going to look that up.
I think you'll enjoy it.
I'm going to look that up.
You know,
But he goes home to Giselle every night, so I don't think he's crying too much.
well, when you dump Bridget Moynihan, you're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Well, here's the thing today. Again, I'm pretty much going to let these two ramble on for the first half of the show because personally, the only thing I care about the Eagles winning is I hope it makes business go a little bit better. I personally couldn't care less, but I didn't want to see Brady win. And before we get started, I want to go right into that whiny little girl, Tom Brady. Before we talk about anything else, before you start bragging about the Eagles or talking about how great they are, I want to talk about that whiny little girl that didn't even congratulate Nick Foles after he lost. Okay? Now, I've heard stories about it. He was upset because Malcolm Butler had been suspended. Blah, blah, blah. Wah, wah, wah. Grab your huggy, Tom.
Well, he
Grab
wasn't
your
suspended,
freaking
really.
huggy.
He did play on special teams.
He played one play.
One play on special teams?
One play.
Oh, well,
But
hey.
bottom line is I had heard that he was a whiny little girl that because he was upset that Butler didn't play. And that's why he lost.
Okay.
I don't know how true or false that is.
Okay.
Bottom line, he's a whiny little girl. On that note, I'm going to shut up. Mike, what do you have to say?
Well, I have to say that I was really never in doubt. Even when the Pats went up 33-32, I was calm. I was confident. The Eagles had moved the ball well all day. And even though I recognized that the Pats were going to get the ball back later on defense, the fact is I was sure that somewhere we'd get that big play. And thanks to Brandon Graham and Derek Barnett, we got it. Tom Brady fumbled, 2:16 left in the game. That was it. Obviously, the Eagles needed to score, which they did.
And Brady's still a whiny little girl. Ed?
Well, unlike you, I don't hate Tom Brady, the player. I'm not too fond of Tom Brady, the person. But the player, you have to give the guy his due.
He was good in Ted, too. You have to admit, he was good in Ted, too.
You got to give the guy his due. You got to give the guy his due. I mean,
He's never covered the spread in the Super Bowl.
that's okay. That's okay.
8 times he's been in the Super Bowl.
That's okay.
He hasn't covered the spread,
That's
I don't think,
okay.
one time.
But you know what? But being that I don't like him as a person, I think he's a bit douchey. Can I say that?
You can say that.
Can I say that?
Only when it's accurate. In this case, it's
He's
accurate.
a bit douchey. So to me, he's like the A-Rod of football.
Did he ever say, they don't like me because I'm good-looking, rich, and biracial?
I don't think he ever said that.
A-Rod said that. That's why I was wondering.
I don't think Tom ever said that.
Okay.
That being said,
Just checking.
I was a nervous wreck through the whole game. Once I saw them running up and down the field, both of them, I knew right then and there it was going to come down to a last possession. And like Mike said, it was going to come down to one big play. And our defense hadn't really done anything up until Brandon Graham's strip sack and Derek Barnett recovering the fumble. Once that happened, I knew right then and there was no way we were going to lose the game. Like, that was my moment where I was like, we're actually going to win this. All season, I will be the first to admit, when the Eagles played the Panthers on Thursday night, it was a Thursday night game, I went on the Facebook rant. All my friends,
No,
all my friends and Eagles fans were all saying, this team is the team to beat. This team is going to the Super Bowl. And I told everyone specifically to pump their brakes, that the team was good, but they weren't good enough to compete for a Super Bowl. I said they'd be good and ready for a Super Bowl in about 2 years, a year or two. I said they would make the playoffs, possibly a wild card, or as the NFC East champs, and they would lose in the first round. That's what I said. And week after week, this team continuously proved me wrong. And they proved me wrong over and over and over again. Once Carson Wentz went down, that was like a dagger in the heart for me. But believe it or not, I had confidence in Nick Foles. I never hated Nick Foles. I never wanted Nick Foles to be traded to begin with. I was a big fan of Nick Foles. And anyone that knows me knows I was a huge fan of Nicky Six.
They should have signed Jeff Garcia.
And I was a huge fan of Nicky Six. So to see him take over, and I knew we had 2 starting quality quarterbacks. Is he as good as Carson Wentz? No, but I knew he could get the job done. So keeping with my theme throughout the season, I just kept saying they were going to lose every single game, just so I wouldn't mess up the mojo and the karma. So when they said, are they going to beat the Falcons? I said no. Are they going to beat the Vikings? I said no. And they asked me, are they going to beat the Patriots? And that was the first time that I just hesitated. And I said, keeping with tradition, I'm going to say no. But deep down, I knew.
Ed was the only person who thought the Vikings had a chance, because that's the one game. I mean, Case Keenum is not going to play, if you want to call it a perfect season, which would have taken for him to get to the Super Bowl.
Right.
He's just not that good. This is a team, by the way, Minnesota, with 3 free agent quarterbacks, so it's going to be fun to see what they do next year.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be very interesting. But the fact that Nick Foles and his Eagles offense tore up the number 1 defense in the league was mind-blowing. I expected them deep down to win. I said it was going to be tough, but I figured they would win. I didn't think they would win convincingly the way they did. Like, it wasn't even a game. After Minnesota scored that touchdown, it was over. It was over. And it was absolutely insane. It was insanity. So, but the game was exciting. I was excited. I jumped. I cried. At the end of the game, I popped champagne.
So let me get this straight. Evelyn Champagne King and you were getting it on?
Oh, jeez. Here we go.
Anyway, let's go back to Mike for a moment, because he's sitting there patiently and he wants to get something out there.
Well, going back for a moment to the NFC Championship game, which was played a few days after we were last together here at SwamiLee's, I had no doubt the Eagles were going to win the NFC Championship. I knew that the Vikings would be a much easier matchup than the Saints or the Rams, and the Falcons, Panthers, not worried about them. But the Vikings, sure, they had a great defense, but Case Keenum. They were a dome team, outdoors, and they were soft.
And most importantly, Case Keenum.
Yes.
I mean, you couldn't really expect Case Keenum to get the Super Bowl. Now, you may say something about Nick Foles, but Nick Foles has a much better history than Case Keenum.
Yeah. Yes, he
Actually,
does.
I think I have a better history in the NFL than Case Keenum. I mean, you get lightning in a bottle, I guess, on rare occasions, and that's what he did for a full year. But you know what? The parity in the NFC has been a horrible conference this year. Horrible conference. And I if you look back at the old videos, I've always said the Eagles had a chance, even with Foles, because there's no good team in the NFC. Tell me one really good team in the NFC.
Well, you take away that one play at the end of the game against the Vikings, and the Saints were a really good team.
Again, good offense. They were a decent team, but they weren't a dominant team. They weren't a Packers in their prime. They weren't a Seahawks with Russell Wilson in 2012 or 13. Mm-hmm. They were a decent team. But no team was a standout team. Just like the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers, there's no team in the AFC that was that good. They were supposed to be the team that was that good. And
but Mike Tomlin.
Mike Tomlin.
But we're talking about the Eagles
frickin'
now.
Tomlin.
We're not Let's talk about
you brought him up.
Okay.
Anybody that knows me knows you don't bring up Mike Tomlin,
now
especially during a Super Bowl conversation.
You know who we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about Doug Peterson. And
you mean the guy that didn't buy a truck for me a couple years ago?
Yes, that guy.
And we're also not going to talk about Dave Martin, our old high school gym teacher.
He didn't buy a car for me either. But I don't think he qualified for it. I don't remember.
But Doug Peterson, I mean, certainly I wasn't excited by the hire. I'm going to bet that everybody in this room was not excited by that hire. Certainly Jacob wasn't. Right, Jacob?
No.
Why wasn't Rich Kotite hired? I mean, with his history, I would have hired him in a heartbeat.
Right.
And that, my friend, is one of the many reasons you are not a professional sports general manager.
If I was a GM, let me tell you something. If I was a GM, you see, football, again, my knowledge on football is so-so. Put me in charge of the Phillies, I'll get a World Series in a matter of years. It is so simple, it's sickening. But we're not going to talk baseball today.
Well,
that will be a topic for another video.
Well, you know, according to the life expectancy tables that the New Jersey Supreme Court uses, you've got a life expectancy of about 33 years. So how many years would it take you to get that championship? All 33 or 31?
First
30?
of all, dude, I don't have 33 years left. Let's just be honest for a moment. So don't even worry about that. But anyway, on that somber note, we're going to cut to break and word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back with SwamiLee's Sports Talk.
Hi, I'm Terry Harmon, an old Phillies guy. I want you to stop in and see the Swami on Haddonfield Road. Everything you need for baseball memorabilia, new stuff, the season's about ready to start. Stop in and see the Swami on Haddonfield Road.
And we're back. SwamiLee's Sports Talk at SwamiLee's Sports Cars and Collectibles here at 2673 Haddonfield Road in Pensacola, New Jersey. I'm Swami Lee.
I'm Eager Mike.
I am Dapper Ed. Nice to meet you.
Coolest guy I know right here, just in case you're wondering, which I don't know if that means I don't know a lot of cool people or what, but the coolest guy that I know, hands down.
That's pretty sad.
Hey, if you had my social life growing up, you'd know what sad is, okay? But that's totally beside the point.
I can vouch for him on that.
Then again, people in glass houses should dress in the basement.
You're full of it today, man. You are batting 1,000.
Actually, he's not.
Oh,
that's
here
right.
we go.
He's not.
You know, I am as stoked as almost anyone, except maybe Ed, about this Eagles Super Bowl. But one thing we're forgetting is that there is a team who, within our lifetimes, has brought multiple professional football championships to our fair city, Philadelphia. Can anyone tell me who that team is?
I don't know, Mike. Why don't you tell us what team that is?
Well, for those of you out there who watched our Facebook Live a little while ago, you'll know that I pointed out that those Philadelphia Stars won 2 championships. And somebody, I won't name names, I'll just look at the individual and whistle,
Oh, boy.
disputed that. Well, we verified that the Stars did win 2 consecutive USFL championships in 1984 and 1985. So
wait, hang on. Just to be clear, I want to make sure I heard you properly because, you know, I'm old, so my ears are starting to fail me, my eyes have failed me, my mind is failing me. But am I correct that you said that the Philadelphia Stars, brought 2 championships to our fair city? You said that they've brought multiple championships. We have it on film now, so we can look this up. You said the Stars brought multiple championships to our city. Is that correct?
mm-hmm.
Okay, so hang on.
So you're going to say they were in Baltimore in 1985,
They
aren't you?
were in Baltimore in 1985. So anything that he just gained by me being wrong, he just screwed up. And I was waiting for that, okay? As the Stars won 1 time in Philadelphia. They brought 1 championship to our fair city, not 2 championships. You heard him say it.
Well, I've got 2 words for you. Do you have any idea what those words might be? Might they be Manny Sarmiento? Yes, they would be.
I have 2 words for you. Tubby McCann.
And nobody, including Ed, knows exactly why that's significant.
Doesn't matter. Bottom line is I'm right. That's all that matters.
I'm lost.
In your
I'm
eyes?
not sure about that. Oh, okay. So let's finish giving Doug Peterson a little bit of much-deserved homage because
You should have bought the truck, Doug, okay? You could have afforded it.
I think you could say that he out-Belichicked Belichick. I mean, offensively, he coached a masterful game.
Can't argue that.
Absolutely.
And I think that man should never have to buy a drink in Philadelphia again, unless, of course, he's with me, in which case, let him buy.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to have to ever pay for a meal or a drink.
Because he needs
Philly
that.
again.
Because he can't afford it, you know. So certainly.
Whatever the case may be, he's the head coach of the Super Bowl winning champion Philadelphia Eagles.
Should I have given him the damn truck? Is that what you're trying to
You
say?
should have just given him the keys and said, "Win us a championship."
That was many years before he was the
Well,
head coach.
whatever, man. You're the Swami. You know everything.
That was
so.
back when he was, you know, working with probably the worst. Well, not the worst, because Mike Tomlin's the worst, but one of the worst head coaches across the board in the NFL, and that has to be
Could that be our friend Richie the K?
No,
Rich Cote?
but you're not far off. Andy Reid.
I don't think Andy Reid's the worst coach.
I didn't either. I said Mike Tomlin's the worst coach. He proved that in that Jacksonville game.
Andy Reid would have never have won this game.
Andy Reid can't win the big game, period, the end.
He would have never won this game. And isn't it ironic?
Don't you think?
I can't with this guy. Isn't it ironic that you had Harbaugh win a Super Bowl? You had Doug Peterson win a Super Bowl. You know, you had Ron Rivera go to the Super Bowl. You had all these people that were under him, go to Super Bowl or win Super Bowls, except for him. It's like they all got it and they all learned from his mistakes and said, I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to do it like him. When have we seen an Eagles team that rarely burns timeouts throughout a game? I'm used to being out of timeouts in the first quarter. You know, your first and third quarter of each half, I'm used to like not having timeouts. And, you know, Doug Peterson rarely uses them. And this dude has brass cojones.
Can't argue that.
He is the most aggressive coach I've ever seen here. Like he's probably I think he's the most aggressive coach, period.
But that 2-point conversion was a bad idea. It was too early to do it, and they needed every point they could get.
And they got it.
Okay.
So,
but no, seriously, when it happened, I told Mrs. Swami that this was a horrible decision.
Oh, the 2-point conversion.
The early 2-point conversion.
Well, the only reason,
even if it had been successful, it wasn't worth the risk. It was too early. Risk/reward, it was not worth the risk.
The only reason why I didn't agree with it was because I felt like it shook up Jake Elliott's confidence. If it's under 30 yards, more likely than not, he's not making it. But it was one of those things where he missed the extra point, then you go back and score, and you're not going to put him back. It's kind of like saying, I don't believe that you can do this.
So what you're telling me is Jake Elliott was all shook up.
Again, this guy, I can't. But that dude is money. Beyond 30 yards, that kid is money. That kid is money.
For nothing.
So, again, that last field goal that he made, I knew he was going to make it. Like, people were freaking out, and I was like, he's got this. He's got this. 46, 47 yards? Yeah. It's nothing for him. That's a chip shot. It's those extra points that he's going to have to work on in the offseason because that's brutal. That's brutal.
So I guess you're not in the mood to talk right now about Caleb Sturgis and what happens when he comes back?
I think Caleb is going to be unemployed when he comes back.
I think Caleb could have come back, already, and they decided not to bring him back. So, Caleb Sturgis, thank you. I have nothing bad to say about Caleb Sturgis, but he's just not. He lost his job. He lost his job.
We got sidetracked a little bit because I wanted to discuss real quick, just for a second, Andy Reid and the first Eagles-Patriots Super Bowl.
Okay.
When there was 2 minutes to go in the game and they were losing, and he didn't go into the 2-minute drill.
Actually, you should have said when there were 8 minutes left in the game.
But I'm talking about the last two. Shouldn't you be in the 2-minute drill?
But they should have scored before they got to the last 2 minutes. Yeah. That's the point.
But I wasn't going there because the point was they were there. They had the 2-minute drill. They had to score. And Andy Reid, you had McNabb throwing up. You had Reid eating a hoagie or something or a donut instead of
Freddie Mitchell calling the plays in the huddle.
Hey, Fred X delivers.
Not that day.
No, he didn't.
Where have you gone, Nay Brown? A nation turns its lonely eyes to you.
Again, you're like batting a billion today, right now.
Don't be a player hater, brother.
Jeez, don't ever say that again. Don't ever say
okay,
that again.
hang on.
Oh, I have a question.
Do you know where that comes from, though? He doesn't know where that. Real quick, just don't lose your thought, because you're like me, you'll forget it already. Do you know where that comes from?
No.
One of the funniest episodes of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, okay? The dream sequence. Will is downstairs or upstairs, and Uncle Phil comes in with Will's girl. And Will's like, Uncle Phil, what's going on? And Uncle Phil goes to Will, don't be a player hater, brother. One of the funniest scenes. I'm sorry, Mike, what were you saying?
Before I go there, I met Will Smith once.
Did you?
I did. It was 1993. I was flying to L.A. He, of course, was flying first class. I was flying whatever's a step below coach and above baggage. And I did meet him. I met him in the terminal in Philadelphia. And back then, he was no douche. Nice guy.
Things change.
Yes.
But, then again, he's a parent now, and, parents are nothing but trouble.
I thought
They
it
just
was
don't understand.
Parents just don't understand.
Something like that. Girls are nothing but trouble. I'm sorry.
Like,
Well,
he doesn't even get his puns right. So like,
Now,
Yeah,
so
can I tell
in
you?
view of these puns, I have to ask you: among all your memorabilia, do you have a Kurt Schilling towel I can borrow?
a Kurt Schilling towel. If I had a Kurt Schilling towel, I would wipe where sun don't shine just to honor that Kurt Schilling towel.
correct.
By the way.
Anyway,
Yes. Sir.
anyway.
Yes.
So Doug Peterson,
The guy that didn't buy the
the
truck.
guy that
from me.
didn't buy the truck,
Okay. Yes.
the guy that didn't buy the truck, who when he got hired, again, I went on one of my famous Facebook rants and said this is the absolute worst person ever to coach this team.
Forgetting all about Rich Kotite, of course.
Correct. Oh, how I was wrong again. The guy just lives, eats, and breathes football, man, and he knows his stuff. He knows his stuff.
Well, that play call, whoever made that play call, that catch by Foles. I mean,
Oh, the Philly special.
that was brilliant.
Have you seen the clips where they call the timeout?
I haven't clicked on it.
They call the timeout. Foles goes up on a 4th and 1 at the goal line. 4th and 1, 4th and goal, and he goes up to Peterson after they call the timeout. And Peterson and Foles says, "What about the Philly?" And then Doug looks at him and goes, "All right, cool. Yeah, do that." Goes in the huddle, calls the Philly special, and that's it. So that's your head coach having trust in your quarterback, knowing that your quarterback can lead this team. Something that Andy Reid would have never done and will never do.
Well, Andy Reid would never get there again because he can't win a playoff game when he's favored by 7, 8, 9, 10 points.
I
He lost to Tennessee. Seriously, he lost to Tennessee in the playoffs. Tennessee backed into the playoffs. They were not a good team. They won with mirrors to get into the playoffs in the first place. And Andy Reid lost to Tennessee. Honestly, I fire him in 2 seconds if I'm Kansas City because I'm never going to win.
we've lived through the Andy Reid era of NFC championships and
9, 10 wins every year guaranteed, but you can't go anywhere with it.
right.
But,
So
you know that play reminded me of something. Watching that Nick Foles play, it reminded me of the time that they had only a couple seconds left on the clock. They snapped the ball to Dawson, and Billy Bob was running around like this. And when everybody else was doing other things, Dawson threw it to Billy Bob, and Billy Bob scored the touchdown, and their team won. Do you remember that?
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
One of the greatest movies in the history of
What are you
mankind.
talking about, the Little Giants or something?
Varsity Blues.
Oh, Varsity Blues.
That's where I realized the genius of Dawson. Before that, I never liked him. The genius of Dawson in that movie.
So that was a movie. We're talking about the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles right now, and
But they won the championship for the high school thing
the
in
Balls of
Texas.
Steel coach Doug Peterson,
Who didn't
Now-
buy a truck from me.
who didn't buy a trophy. Now I will say what I was disappointed in for most of the game, except for that last 2 minutes and 16 seconds, was the defense couldn't stop anything. The defensive line was it was nowhere. Everything was like non-existent.
In their
I was
defense-
screaming how guys were getting wide open. And Ronald Darby needs to work on these, stop falling for these double moves. Everything's a double move and he gets beat. As soon as someone was open, I just started shouting out, was that Darby? It
Did
was
the
Darby.
Patriots have a single reception in traffic? I mean, won the entire game.
They might have a
Couple of Gronkowskis
couple
were.
Gronk.
Okay,
couple
I mean,
passes.
you're right about the fact that it was,
But they had 3 receivers with over 100 yards. That's insane. That's insane.
and they weren't the number 1 or the number 2 receiver, which is even funnier.
No, but what I did like is that we went blow for blow.
Yeah,
Scored,
yeah.
they scored, we scored. They scored. There was only 1 punt in the game. You know, they scored, we scored, and they got a interception on a lucky bounce. That's something.
That was a fluke play.
That was a fluke play.
You can't help that. It's a fluke
So
play.
you know, and at the end of the day, we still came out on top. Like Mike said, you know, he was always confident that they were going to win. I wasn't confident until that strip sack, and I said, and even then, there was still, I think, a minute left or whatever it was. I was still like, this guy's going to move the ball down. It's going to be interesting.
And you know, in a New York minute, everything can change. Anyway, Mike, any last words?
Well, Joel Embiid did play back-to-back for the first time.
And he was at the game. He
Oh,
was at the game, and every game Joel Embiid went to this season, they won. So It was there. It was just all the omens were there. Dawkins made the Hall of Fame. My favorite Eagle of all time.
Even the sun shines on a dog's butt. That's all I'm going to say to you.
Isaiah Jenkins made the Hall of Fame.
Ooh, good point. Well, on that note,
You are such a hater, man. What did the Steelers do this year?
well, if they didn't have the worst
Okay,
head
thanks.
coach in the history
Thank
of
you. So,
mankind,
thank you for joining us at SwamiLee's Sports Cards and Collectibles.
go for it.
You can never take it away from us. You can hate all you want. No more jokes about rings. No more jokes about trophies.
That one with a girl, with a guy with a girl dressed as a Super Bowl trophy, and said he'll never go home with her. That one meme had to be the funniest one.
You can never take it away from us. I can now retire my shirt that says "Just win one before I die." I can retire that shirt. It's actually going on a frame and hung up in my Eagles room.
Like me to autograph it for you?
I do have a themed Eagles TV room where everything is Eagles, including the curtains and the furniture. Thanks to my lovely wife who made the curtains for me. It will go there. And I'm excited. I will be at the parade tomorrow. It will be freezing. I will be with millions of crazy people. I promise not to punch a horse.
Or eat the
I
horse's
promise not
doo-doo.
to eat horse poo.
There you go.
I promise not to flip a Prius. I promise not to stand on an awning with 100 other people so it'll collapse.
When in Rome.
What about your pole climbing?
I'm not climbing poles.
Well,
I'm going to go, take some pictures, and then I'm probably going to have to walk home because there's no Paco line coming back home till like 1:30 in the afternoon. I will be leaving at 5 a.m. I am one of those crazy people.
and he says I ramble on. That's all I have to say to you.
Hey, I'm excited.
I hear you.
I'm excited.
Well, anyway, I'm Swami Lee.
I'm Mike, and don't forget, Saturday, February 10 at 2 p.m. right here at SwamiLee's Sports Cards and Collectibles, 2673
73.
Haddonfield Road, Pennsauken, New Jersey. We're going to have an auction. No opening bid more than $10. Lots of great stuff. Come on by, see the Swami, see Mrs. Swami, see Mellow Mike.
See Mommy and Daddy Swami.
Yeah, I've gotten plenty of stuff. I've purchased plenty of things from here, and I'm very satisfied.
We appreciate that.
and very happy about it. Are you going to be having any type of Super Bowl collectibles or
I
Super Bowl type
I
memorabilia?
believe I will have a limited amount of Super Bowl mini helmets.
Okay.
And something, a photo ball it's called. I'm not really sure what it is yet. I'm going to see my guy on Friday. He's going to let me know when the stuff's coming in. They don't make that stuff until after the team wins. Unlike the t-shirts, keep in mind there's like hundreds of thousands of third world people wearing Patriots 2018 championship t-shirts.
I can't wait
So,
to see those pictures.
That would be great. So thanks for joining us. And have a great rest of your day.
Fly,
Bye-bye.
Eagles, fly.
Put me in cold.